Hi, I'm Bruce from North Star Games, and I'm here to teach you Most Wanted. In Most Wanted, you're a rootin' tootin' cowboy trying to become the most wanted outlaw in the West. And here's how you do it. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna pick one of our awesome characters. And I love to point these out because they were worked on by a guy named Andy Barry who did work for DreamWorks, and they're super cool. I love them, including Sister Chuck, a personal favorite of mine. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your character. In this case, I'm gonna take Bullseye Betty. You're gonna take the little stand-up for Bullseye Betty, and you're gonna put her at the bottom of this game board. This game board is a point tracker. You're gonna start at the bottom, and you're trying to become the most wanted in the West. So once again, you're gonna grab your card, you're going to grab your stand-up, you're gonna put the stand-up at the bottom, everyone's going to do that, and then the game's going to begin. As a note, not only is it cool art on one side, on the other side it tells you the rank of hands in Most Wanted, because Most Wanted is based on poker. Don't worry. If you know poker, this is gonna be fine for you. It's actually gonna be missing a couple of hands you might be used to. You're not gonna see flushes, you're not gonna see straights, you're not gonna see full houses. If you do not know poker, you're fine. Everything you need to know is right here. I'm gonna explain it as we go along, but at any point if you forget, don't forget to check out the card. Everybody's gonna get a hand of 5 cards that are just standard poker cards. Things to know about this deck, it's a double deck from 6 to ace. So if you have a really, really good hand, that's not necessarily really, really rare. So don't think just because you're looking at a handful of face cards that all of fortune smiled upon you. It's a double deck and a lot of them are gonna be high cards. Every turn, you're gonna choose one of the 6 cards that's on the board, one of the 6 locations, to do something at that location. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start by telling you how you earn points. You earn points by robbing things. In this case, the Pony Express, the Stagecoach, and the train. At the top of any of these cards, the top of the horseshoe, it's gonna have a little hand of cards, and it's gonna show you how many cards are involved in that particular hand. In the case of the Pony Express, it is a 2-card hand. That's why there are 2 cards at the top. And then I'll go through the Stagecoach is 3, and the train robbery is going to be 4. At the bottom, it tells you the victory point, the victories, and the consequences. So, if you win the train robbery, you're going to get 4 points. So you're gonna move up 4 of the posters on the board. If, however, you don't win the train robbery, there's a little icon there that is a guy in jail. That means that you're gonna pay bail. If we go back to the board, you're going to see on the particular poster that your piece is on, you're gonna see a couple of little money bags and a number on them. At the beginning, it starts at 1, then moves to 2, then goes to 3. That is your bail. So if you choose to be a part of a train robbery and you didn't manage to rob the train, you're gonna have to pay the bail that's marked on the board. Once again, 1, 2, or 3. If you're at the start of the game and you're off the board, or somehow you've been knocked off the board, you're paying 0 every time you fail. So I would say rob every train, rob every Stagecoach, rob every Pony Express. You have no reason not to do it. Okay? So that's how those 3 work. I'm gonna teach you the other 3 cards. In this game, first it is the Duel. The Duel is a 1 to 2 card hand that's determined by the active player. The winner gets 0 to 3 points. That's based on how much bail that person would pay. So if I choose to duel you and you're in the 2 bail area, you're worth 2 points to me. But if I'm off the board, I'm worth 0 to you. Once again, if you lose the duel, that is going to put you in jail. So what I would do is I would take my card hand of 5 cards. I would pick 1 player at the table, because at the bottom it tells you choose 1 player, and I would duel them. So I would pick a card, let's say a single card, and I would say, I'm going to duel you. You're gonna pick 1 card out of your hand, and then we're gonna flip them up. Highest card wins. Aces are high, 6s are low, with 1 exception. That's a cool thing I wanna show you. If you look at the 6s, they have the 6 shooters. 6 shooters fire bullets. So, if 1 player has a hand that is all aces, including a single card, and the other player has a hand that is all 6s, the 6s will always win. So once again, if it's a 1-card hand of an ace, it loses to a 1-card hand of a 6. If it's a 2-card hand of aces, it loses to a 2-card hand of 6s. 3-card hand of aces, 3-card hand of 6s. All aces lose to all 6s every time. Just an interesting thing to know as you go along. Once again, for the duel, if you win the duel, you're gonna get the bonus. If you lose, you're gonna pay bail. Next is Church. You normally have a 5-card hand in poker. And in this game, at the end of every round, you're gonna draw back up to 5. The Church allows you to discard as many or as few cards from your hand as you would like and draw up to 7. It's the only time in this particular version of the game, which we call St. Louis, that you're allowed to get a hand over 5 cards. Final thing you can do here is honest labor. Even if you're a criminal, sometimes you need a little bit of money to get started, so you can go to honest labor. For honest labor, you can discard cards of the same color. So if you take a look, if you know a deck of cards, you're gonna see that suits have different colors. So in this case, I could use red cards. I can discard them for $2 per card. You may say to yourself, you've talked about a lot of things, what does money do? Money is how you pay bail. Paying bail is how you don't lose points in this game. Anytime you're obligated to pay bail, if you're not able to, you go back 1 step for each dollar you couldn't pay. So remember, you want to try to do some honest labor to get some money, so when you rob things later, nothing bad happens to you. Now a quick explanation back to the exact action on how you rob something. You would pick either the 2, 3, or 4 card robbery. In this case, we'll say the stagecoach. 3 cards. Says anyone can join. So the active player says, I'm going to do a stagecoach robbery. I have 3 cards, here they are. Every other person at the table is allowed to decide if they want to be in that robbery. If they would also like to rob the stagecoach, they would take 3 cards, put them face down in front of them. Once everyone's decided, you flip the cards up and the highest hand wins. Once again, the winner in this case will be getting 3 points. The loser, and that's all of the losers, will be paying bail. Once you get up to the top of the board, once you've managed to make enough points to get to the most wanted, you win the game, and that happens immediately as soon as someone gets to most wanted. Things to pay attention to. Once you shuffle the deck of cards, the first time you shuffle the deck of cards, you're gonna go to the lowest numbered robbery, in this case the 2-point robbery, you're gonna flip it over. It now becomes a 3-point robbery. The second time you shuffle the deck of cards, you're gonna go to now the next lowest, you're gonna flip it over. And if you take a look, it actually starts on a light colored wood and moves to a dark colored wood. Finally, on your third shuffle of the cards, you're gonna move the train robbery up to a more valuable train robbery. This helps speed the game along a little bit. So as you go along, they become more valuable to rob the smaller and smaller robberies. Once again, if you get to 13 points, you're going to win the game. If you see someone getting close and they're right near the top of the board, that is the time to start dueling them. This is not a game about collecting cards. It is a hand management game, but make sure once you see people getting up there, don't be afraid to duel people. If you're not doing well, don't be afraid to go for a stagecoach or a train, because you can get rid of a bunch of cards. If I do a train robbery and I lose, I pay bail. But if my bail is 1 or 0, I get to get rid of all the cards, because every round I get to draw back up to 5. So those are important things to remember in this game, is that even as people are advancing, you have ways to pull them back. And if you're at the bottom of the stack, you have things to do to get better cards in your hand so that you can do better at this game. Final thing to note, if you're playing with just 2 players, there is one change. You will play with the sheriff. Anytime you go to rob anything, the sheriff gets the number of cards that each player gets times 2. So, if you go to rob the Pony Express in a 2-player game, the sheriff, a dummy hand, is going to get 4 cards. The stagecoach will give him 6, and the train robbery is going to give him 8. He will do everything he possibly can to beat you, and there are rules in the book that explain exactly how he works his hands out, but he's there to make sure that if just 2 of us are playing, one of us can't get away with a train robbery for nothing. Once again, once you get to 13 points, you have won the game. There is exactly how to play and enjoy Most Wanted. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn about our other games, please check us out at northstargames.com. If you'd like to learn about games before they come out, join our mailing list. Once again at northstargames.com. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, thank you so much for watching. One thing I want to point out to you, if you look at the back of your rules, you look at the final page of the rules and you look at the bottom, it tells you about a treasure. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I can't tell you where the treasure is, but I can tell you that there isn't a lot in this box. This is where you're going to put your big cards. This is where you're going to put your characters. If you take a look here, it's where you're going to put your actual character pieces and your deck of cards. And there's not much else here, but there's a hidden treasure. So if you were to, let's say, dig for a hidden treasure, you might find more ways to play the game, and a really cool travel guide that teaches you all kinds of places that this game can go outside of St. Louis. So you might want to check that out.